Josh, that was a hell of a game too. 51 minutes?
51 minutes, 60 kills coming through. That is not the kind of game I was expecting to be doing these two teams. I was expecting team fights. We were talking about the 5v5s over and over.
Oh, we got team fights.
We got team fights all over the place.
Yeah, it was of just the crazy kind, though.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it to be that intense. I mean, Immortals Academy were literally 2 autos away. I don't remember what the HP was like, but it was
so close.
It was so close.
It was so close.
So
yeah.
close.
And you know that the players on Immortals are kicking themselves after that game, right? Like, we were so close to ending it. If we had just played this part a little bit better, if I had moved to the left instead of to the right, you know that the game would have ended differently. And the player that I always look at in these spots is Aphelios or Wild Turtle, right? Because he was the one. He was the one who made the solo decision. I'm trying to end the game here, right? And we said he came here ready to play. 12, 5, and 13. Still looked pretty good, but that one spot.
You can only do so much as a marksman, and he was really living up to the 1v9 mantra that we don't get to see often in games anymore these days, but it was so close to being the Wild Turtle show, and then 100 Thieves held on.
Yeah.
And it was just actually miraculous for them to make that base defense, because now we're going to game 3. It's no longer the match point scenario. Everyone's back on even footing.
True, and it is back to Immortals on the red side, and you know, to quote Dokla, results-based analysis, you see the results? You just do that again. You know, go back to the red side. We are seeing a bit of a similarity from our first draft. Viego was given to Kenvi, or excuse me, Lee Sin was given to Kenvi, and we had Chad on the
Lee Sin.
Viego. Lee
Sin. Or yeah.
Yes.
So Kenvi on the Viego in game 2, Chad on Lee Sin. But so far, if you're going to talk about results-based analysis, Lee Sin is 0% so far this series.
True. Champion must suck.
No,
these guys are both very good at this champion. We saw Chad coming off to a huge lead with it last time. We know he can be successful with it, but we turn our attention to the bot lane where Wixie and Busio has started picking up this Rakan incredibly heavily during Proving Grounds. He's been playing half of his games on it so far in just Proving Grounds alone. And it's because of this combo. The Xayah was super strong from Wixie, even though it just wasn't able to be brought to bear last time.
I think the big change also for this series is the fact that Pretty is going to have to play something other than Ari since it was banned immediately from the get-go.
True.
That has opened up Immortals to prioritize different champions for the first round, but now that they're going into the second one, it's about, once again, locking down picks for their solo laners. And with a composition like this, when you're built around Zeri in the backline, you are flexible in which direction you want to go.
Yeah, the big thing that we have to pay attention to with both these solo laners coming out from IMTs are both counter pickers, right? We always look at Wukong as one of the big things that Immortals like to play, and it gives you a bit more engaged tools. It gives you a strong laning phase to go off of. But the person that we often look at is Pretty. He has some of the most uniques, most one-of champions in the entire league because he's just down to find something that screws over the enemy composition. He's like, oh, you wanted this, and that? Well, what if I don't let you?
In Immortals Academy, I think the remarkable thing about Pretty, even since knowing him since 2021, during that roster before when Anda and Viper were just coming onto the squad, their coach back then, Jensen, was talking about, what I love about Pretty is that he is the ultimate team role player. It's why sometimes he doesn't get the spotlight that often, because he's willing to take a step back and do whatever the team needs him to do to facilitate it.
Yeah, and we'll see this, right? He's the Ivern player. He played the Zillion throughout the course of the series or the course of the season, right? He is willing to do whatever it takes to win. And as we see the Urgot come through, it is going to be Pretty with R5 counter pick. He's going to get the last pick. He gets to see what it is that the other team wants to play. He's going to be able to get an idea of what everything on 100 Thieves can do and say, I'm going to prevent it.
And if I'm someone that is a 100 Thieves fan, I would be thrilled to see the Ornn lock in, because when you think of Gamsu, he is the ultimate tank player. Yes, he has been able to show a lot of prowess on some of the carry champions throughout Proving Grounds, specifically after the second round Robin collapse. But when you look at 100 Thieves and where a lot of success comes from, it's the team fighting, and Gamsu usually is one of the ones that has the primary engage.
True. And when you force him to have the engage, you force him to group, right? And that's one of the things that they were having trouble with, is Gamsu was not with them during a lot of fights in the first half of Game 2. But oh, this is a cool pick coming through. I really like this. Akali does not win a lot of lanes, but she wins really hard against Victor. If you land that shuriken flip after level 4, Victor is going to have to flash or lose half his HP.
And while Immortals Academy haven't necessarily been on the super aggressive side pre 5 minutes of the game, we know that Chad always has that ability to make and facilitate those plays happen, especially when he has something like Lee Sin. Lee Sin, Akali, two extremely mobile champions. How does Victor escape that?
He doesn't. That's the whole point, right? Victor does not have a lot of bad matchups. Victor is kind of a great one-size-fits-all. You can pick it into almost any situation. In fact, 100 Thieves have been doing that. It's one of the most played by Jimmy so far in this entire season during Proving Grounds during the second half of the round robin. And now they're looking to really go for just a, take all comers kind of composition.
And with the way that the bottom lane has been playing out as well for Immortals, Wild Turtle seems confident enough that he could be in a 1v2 situation for a while so that Joey can get on a lane, roam up. You have guaranteed now lockdown with Nautilus and high amount of burst damage from Lisa and Akali. I imagine, as 100 Thieves Academy, they need to set up defensive lines for Jimmy, or he's going to be really ramped down.
Yeah. I also want to point out this is Joey's third consecutive Nautilus game. And in theory, Xayah should never get caught by Nautilus, right? During these crucial moments, you do have the ultimate, you have the flash, you should be able to leave. But we actually have been seeing Joey have a lot of success in this matchup. He's actually landing a lot of hooks onto Wixie, putting one of our youngest players in uncomfortable positions, and he's a huge part of the damage this time around on the Xayah.
Yeah. We know how disgusting the poke can be once you get up to the 3 items, right? But in game 1, even when he had the item lead, it didn't really net them the game-ending push that they needed to close out game 1. But now we're into game 3. Both teams have taken 1 game apiece. Immortals Academy looking for a similar invade entrance, this time against 100.
We've seen this a couple times, right? Immortals ganking after Camp 0, and Joey will have the hook. Will be able to push Jimmy right on out of his own bush. Blind hooking a second bush on this invade, but there's no real vision advantage coming out from 100 Thieves. They don't send anyone toward the top side. They don't get to know where Chad is actually going to be starting. So it's just going to be some strict advantages going over towards the side of Immortals.
And the big thing for Immortals is I don't think any of them got spotted out by 100 Thieves during the invade. They were maybe Jimmy saw like 1 or 2 members at most, but he had to leave the bush.
Yeah. I mean, I love this level 1 meta that that Immortals have been pursuing. They've always been looking for opportunities to put people in uncomfortable positions. Chad, again, calling out whenever you're playing against a Lee Sin, you can just invade it. You can't ward. Whenever you're playing up against, so-and-so champion, you can just go fight it at level 1 because you're stronger.
We don't see that coming out from 100 Thieves this time around, though.
Not yet. They could still go for something a little bit cheeky. I don't think that has been really in the cards so far from 100 Thieves. They are not necessarily looking to make the most aggressive early plays, but as soon as I say that...
Oh, well, it's just level 1 trading. I don't suspect that we're going to fight all the way to the death. That's a heal burn down. What?
No, I don't know what that emote means, but there was a Poro in it. And Wild Turtle, I mean, I feel like he is a bit over-aggressive now, right? We said he came to play. He had a 12, 5, and 13 scoreline in our last game. He was looking very strong on the FPLs because he was able to play towards the pocket. He was able to find spots where he was not attackable. And if we continue to see that, I think it should give Immortals more wins than losses.
Yeah, watching how this push is evolving right now, I don't think Pretty is setting it up to make a 4-man dive happen on the bottom side of the map, but Chad could look for something onto the bottom side, whereas Kenvi, well, the way he was pathing, I thought he was going to look for something topside, but so far, as the game has pursued out, Chad has been a little bit more aggressive, whereas Kenvi has been prioritizing farm, and Chad wanted to look for the mid lane gank, but thanks to a nice ward, it's going to suss him out. However, Chad is now dipped into the fog.
Yeah, they know where he is, though, right? There's only one place he can reasonably be, and Kenvi looking to collapse, but Turtle and Joey,
they have the priority push. So Kenvi shows himself. He thinks that he's going to be able to yoink this away, but Chad has the support of Wild Turtle and Joey in his back pocket. Kenvi might have the flash here, but it's actually a preemptive flash from Chad, trying to lock him down, forcing the flash out of Kenvi. But now boosting on Wixie. Oh, beautiful grand entrance on a Chad. That's first blood for 100 Thieves. But Kenvi has been routed off. How far can Immortals still take this? Oh, no way. Immortals actually are in an absolute disastrous moment because 100 Thieves don't lose anyone in that.
And that's what we were looking at, right? Chad is this young upstart jungler trying to take back Kenvi's job, saying, you never should have dropped me from 100 Thieves Academy. But he goes too aggressive. Kenvi wins the smite. He gets the red buff and is able to find the outplays in this upcoming moment, right? We see that Wild Turtle and Joey are here first, but they're not necessarily in a spot where they can do a whole lot of damage. Kenvi is already leaving, and the gravity field creates so much space, but Jimmy's caught too.
And Immortals are trying to capitalize, answer right on back despite the disastrous invade, but Jimmy not even having to burn flash.
And he gets a kill and assist, right? We normally look at Victor, he's supposed to really struggle in this matchup in the next couple of levels, right? He has a lot of difficulty staying alive if a shuriken flip actually hits. And he's got a kill and assist. So he's already rocketing forward towards that lost chapter plus E evolve, plus that E double laser where you can full clear waves. And if he gets to that spot, the Akali matchup is no longer all that threatening.
If you don't find that lead and you don't snowball as an assassin, then Victor just becomes the super scary late game control mage that we have seen throughout the entire spring, not just in Proving Grounds and Academy, pretty much the entire world.
True. And the other thing is, like, it's not just the Victor, right? It is Jimmy's Victor. He plays defensively so well. It is so hard to get on top of this guy, to find him in isolated positions where he can't outplay. And we saw that last game, right? I feel like we kind of stopped talking about it because the rest of the game, he was also popping off and finding the damage angles. But he also stayed alive in a 1v4 and bought so much time that his team was able to take down so much tempo with it and actually, like, win the follow-up fight.
Yeah. Immortals Academy. Remember when we talk about what our expected game plan for this composition was? You were trying to get Joey out of lane, think that Wild Turtle would be confident enough with the push to play on the 1v2 and get Chad and Pretty on the same page to look for snowballs against the Jimmian. That invade has set them so far back that they have not been able to find a response yet in this early game.
Yeah, this timer ends up being a bit of nothing, but Concept is just kind of chilling on the top side. And remember, Chad's the kind of guy who's going to go for things with Joey. Oh, you can't do that, man.
Oh, another opportunity that Immortals look for. It does not go their way. Yes, no one goes down, but that is time that you're not going to get back. And as the early game is starting to slip away, Josh, so is really Immortals' window to strike hard.
Yeah, I mean, for a player that we've looked at and had a lot of praise for at the regular season, as one of our better supports during the Academy regular season and into Proving Grounds, that's the second time that Joy has made that exact play, right? He's gone for the Hex Flash and then instantly hooks a wall. And when you are trying to find your advantages, you can't afford to do that kind of thing. And now 100 Thieves, they should be able to bully their way out.
And Immortals, they're just waiting for a right moment here. Oh, Wixie might have to flash since he's now in the pit. Lucio gets chunked, gets out alive, but just as I say that, Chad follows up on the resonating strike, flashing forward, both from Wild Turtle, trying to lock down Kenvi, and Immortals are going to brute force their way back into this game.
Oh, there's no ultimate left. Okay. I thought Gamsu could find a solo kill there, but he already used the ult. Yeah, that's just a situation where, again, it looks like a very similar spot to what we saw Immortals fighting their leads in Game 1. They were a bit more coordinated. They're on the same page, and when you are going to be more aggressively trying to make these plays happen, you're going to get out. It's a spot where 100 Thieves could have gotten out with probably everyone if they had moved in force, but by splitting up their forces, by Jimmy basically using all of his resources to keep Pretty from joining the fight, it ends up being another advantage going over to Immortals.
And something you desperately need. It's not in the fashion that we were expecting for the game plan to happen, but once again...
7-minute laser?
Yeah. Immortals Academy are going to take whatever they can get because they need to have Snowball on their side in order to make this game plan work out.
Yeah, and I just called it out, right? Jimmy and 7-minute laser, you're typically looking at 9 to 11 minutes for that first one to come online. You're often just going to need that early CS, but Jimmy already got that first kill, that first assist. He is well propelled to be a huge force in this upcoming game. And I kind of ask, how are Immortals going to deal with both the Victor and the Xayah? They only have 2 divers. They only have 2 people who can actually try and take them down. And they are both fairly self-sufficient peelers.
Yeah, I mean, you have mobile divers, right, as you called out, but you don't have many consistent ways of forcing important cooldowns from the side of Jimmy and Wixie. It's really just def charge and perfect execution.
Yeah. And so, I had a conversation with some of the LJL boys recently. You can go for the flangles, right? Flank angles. You can go for dive angles, a couple of the dangles, right? But the big thing is you cannot afford to be using any of your dashes to get these dives off. You have to go for flank dive angles, or flandangle, if you will.
You've been spending too much time with half good bros. I love them too, but they're
a bad influence. You heard it here first.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Well, I will say it. I said what I said.
Initialize Nightmare. It's okay. I understand.
But as we get back into it, I want to look back at the players, and we've been seeing a lot of talk between these two teams, right? Wixie and Busio, some of our younger players, they've been looking quite good, and Cubby is absolutely huge on the way that Busio has been playing. And so far, at least this game, he's been looking pretty decent in the way that he's trying to actually navigate these team fights. But one of the things that we're going to have to pay attention to is he's got some of the major buttons that 100 Thieves are going to need to actually find these engaged. And while mechanically, Busio has been brilliant, he hasn't necessarily always been able to find the best engagers. And I love the fact that he is linked up with Gamsu. Both these players are going to have to be on the same page. And if you have that brittle, the charm lasts for forever.
So far, that hasn't been a necessity, though, for
Not yet.
his Academy.
Oh?
Okay, well, Joey's just going to force the engage outright onto Busio. That's his... That's not... Wait, that they burned nothing for that.
They burned heal.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
One summoner spell for an ult and ignite from the side of Immortals. That's 2 ultimates down.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing that we've been seeing. While Joey has been looking for a lot of these engages, it feels like he's trying to force things to happen. And it kind of makes sense when you're a composition that feels like you can't just take these standard team fights later on. You're going up against an Ornn, Victor, and Xayah Rakan, and your composition is so focused on outplaying and taking these skill checks like the Endless Desk was talking about, trying to create these spots where you can win. I feel like Joey, as one of the longer tenured players on Immortals, he's going to just start looking for things even if they aren't the most easy plays to go for.
I can have respect for that. Now, for Immortals Academy, you know, you go back to kind of this Akali Lee Sin question mark that we had for this early part of the game. So far, the kills have only come from just a capitalization on an overextension and mis-exit from 100 Thieves Academy. But right now, the second dragon coming in about 40 seconds, Immortals Academy are going to be down this def charge. And...
It'll be back up.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It'll be
See,
back up.
okay, I'm looking at this monitor that I have,
yeah.
and I feel like I'm misreading a lot of things here. But
I'm not allowed to say that on broadcast, but you know, there's an escape phrase that I was gonna have to use on that one. But we're definitely in a position where Immortals, they're here first, right? And that's something that we were asking about how their setups were gonna be. They were not good against FlyQuest, but this is a spot where they've done a good job at making sure that they are at these dragons before 100 Thieves can respond. Immortals
Academy, as you called it, def charge gonna be slightly late, but it will be available so that they can look for a fight here. Wild Turtle.
Slow?
Just a little bit of love taps against Wixie. About a third of his HP. Aggressive love, one might say.
Oh. Also seeing a big trade. Concept going under turret a little bit. Should be okay.
I'll call it the Force God. Ignite is popped here. Fear Beyond Death. Concept flashing the ulti. Oh, but does he get the kill? Oh my god, Gamsu actually still gets it!
Oh my god, Gamsu finding the solo kill as Ornn. Just a great play coming through from Gamsu, finding the double barrel, finding both auto attacks coming through, and Concept just doesn't have the HP to stand up to it. The Frozen Heart's completed, and now the Ornn takes 0 damage from our god.
Oh, I mean, this is what we wanted to see from 100 Thieves Academy, especially for Gamsu. I mean, sometimes the carry play, it hits, and it's like, okay, cool. It's nice to see that Gamsu knows how to play carry champion sometimes. But he made a name for himself as a strong tank player. And we were able to solo kill a lot of these matchups here, even as a tank. That's a great place to be in. Jimmy and Kenvi, though, find themselves in a 2v2, but it's just Joey and Chad. So it's only Chad that's being able to do the damage. Looks like he's routed himself off against Jimmy and finds a trade 1-for-1 in the end. But 100 Thieves Academy still in hot pursuit. They want to look for Flash Trench Light from Kenvi, possessed as Joey finds Pretty, but he still has perfect execution. He still has Flash, doesn't even need to use the Summoner Spell. He's out of there.
Yeah, only the Shuriken Flip is used there, but that's still another trade of kills coming through from both these teams. Both teams are ready to fight, and you can kind of see what we were talking about. What Doku was talking about between Kenvi and Chad. They're both the kind of guy who's going to go kill somebody. Kenvi hops the wall. He doesn't deal with Chad at all.
Oh no, Wild Turtle was trying to finish off this turret, but Wixie comes in. Jimmy with the teleport, also making sure that he does not pick up first brick. Busio just covering his entrances, but Wild Turtle still counting it out. Whoa! Wild Turtle! Not deterred by it at all.
Look, Busio, I respect the hell out of it. You thought Wild Turtle was going to flash. I thought Wild Turtle was going to flash, but Wild Turtle holding it on. But this is what we're talking about. These players are here to fight. Chad goes on Jimmy, and Kimmy's like, you're good, right? I'm going to go kill this Nautilus. I'll come check on you in a second. You're not good. We'll talk about that again in a sec. We'll talk about that. You know, you're fine. You're still 1-1 too. But that's the kind of thing that both these guys are going to be looking at, right? Kenvi just saw blood. He says, I want to go get that. Chad does the exact same thing.
Both of them very, very willing to just strike pound for pound, right? But for Immortals Academy, I'm going to say it again because I'm still concerned about how this Akali hasn't really gotten a chance to pop off. because what is like the window? What is the time where 100 Thieves Academy are going to feel like, okay, we're past this mark, we're now in the game. We don't have to be concerned about this.
Realistically, level 13, right? You know, once you are starting to put points in W, which only lowers the cooldown for the Shroud, like Akali is like fine, right? But it's no longer that huge threat onto the backline. It doesn't necessarily have all the damage in the world, and as more defensive items start coming on line for Wixie and Jimmy, and you start getting that third Evo, so you have the slow ready for Jimmy as well, the dive becomes so much less threatening, and just the raw damage that Victor and Zarya provide are a bit too much. And on top of that, an Ornn exists.
Call of the Forge God hits different, especially in the 5-on-5s. 100 Thieves Academy want to use that to as great a success as possible. And because he's already picked up a solo kill, he's ahead as a tank. That is almost very dire for most teams when you're facing up against a matchup that you're like, okay, well, we have this bruiser pick that we have locked in for a concept. He should be fine in it. But getting solo killed, and now this tank is going to be even harder to deal with, especially if you're Immortals.
True. A lot of people look at Concept and they kind of praise him for being a fairly smart player, right? But he's typically in good spots. He's going to be standing in places where he can be really effective. For the most part, he makes sure that he creates these pockets for the rest of his team, but Kenby.
Okay, well, Kenby is locked down, but he gets out over the wall, and now Chad is the one that is facing lethal. Busio cleans it up. Immortals Academy, every time they're looking for a play, 100 Thieves are the one that strike better.
And they're on the same page, right? We see Immortals go over the wall at the same time, but sometimes the same page is still the wrong page. You got to get that bookmark out. And 100 Thieves, it was Kenby who got jumped on, but he's back on a full HP. He's going to pick up this Rift Herald, and every second that Immortals is not winning is a minute that they are... That sounds really dumb, but you know exactly what I mean. They're falling further behind.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves Academy have been able to bounce back at least from what was the momentum deterring from Immortals Academy in game 1, where the early game, completely on 100 Thieves side, up 3,000 gold in the 15-minute mark, but then Immortals Academy still just took the third dragon fight way better and were able to close it out and had us wondering, what happened to 100 Thieves? You know, is this a return to second round Robin form? But now it's Immortals Academy that are finding themselves in a spot where 100 Thieves have been maintaining control. They're undeterred by the results of the prior 2 games. They're keeping their composure up, and the amount of unforced errors we're seeing from Immortals Academy is now giving 100 the window to propel in this game.
Yeah, Immortals, they have a small tempo window to try and do something, right? Wixie on the far side of the map has no teleport, cannot join, and so Immortals should be able to pick up this dragon without a contest from 100 Thieves. But it's the Ocean Soul, and last game we said that that LeBlanc does not care about Ocean Soul very much because she just bursts you through it.
Yeah.
This is a game where I'm not sure how helpful it is to Immortals either, just because if you get that first reset, Viego starts going off, Victor is going to continue doing brutal amounts of damage, and you can one-shot a lot of the weaker members, and I feel like even if the Ocean Soul goes over to Immortals, it doesn't instantly win the game like it does some other games.
What's an Ocean Soul to an Ion Cannon in the late game, Josh?
Yeah, which an Ocean Soul to a Jimmy, I guess, right? He's just all over the place, and as we get another Herald drop into the mid lane, we see that 100 Thieves are taking control, they're grouping, and Gomsu's coming up.
Okay, Busio doesn't get anything out of Wild Turtle, but just the dash. Concept is routed off, forced to flash over the wall. That's going to be crucial going into another fight in the next few minutes. Busio popping the quickness in the grand entrance. They punish Concept after the flash being burned. And this Rift Herald, even though it goes down, it still opened up the map for 100.
True. This is one of the problems that Immortals often have, and 100 Thieves are preying on it. There is a focus from Immortals on actually trying to find these odd flanks. They aren't necessarily the cleanest about getting all their wave stage set up, and while this Rift Herald comes through, it's not in a spot to teleport. He's not in a spot where he can take the turret, and it's just Immortals giving up a member because 100 Thieves catches them out.
Yeah, Immortals are really struggling in terms of finding a window to just find that explosive team fight, to really just find the catalyst to snowball the game in their favor, because right now it's just slowly slipping away. 100 Thieves Academy haven't done necessarily anything to blow the game wide open, but it's all been calculated. It's all been meticulous, and anytime that Immortals overextend or put themselves in a position where 100 believe that they can punish, they instantly go for it.
True. Pretty looking for a fight.
Okay, well, is this the explosive that we need?
Misses. He's fine.
No shuriken backflip. Has to go back on the perfect execution.
Yeah, I feel like Pretty missed one of the big things he needed to do to actually win that, right? You see Akali's go for the instant RE combo, but Pretty not able to pull it off, and Victor just walks away. That's something that Jimmy has always been good at. He still needs to be a little bit careful because another shuriken flip puts him in a really awkward position. But Joey!
Okay, Joey. I don't know how that happened or how it started out, but now 100 Thieves Academy have the opportunity to go forward while Turtle has been left by the rest of his team because there's no longer frontline that can absorb the damage and the pressure. And 100 Thieves Busio popping the blast cone takes away Concept's one escape route, and 100 Thieves find themselves 5,000 gold ahead at 20 minutes.
What the deuce? Like, what was that? Joey, he's been looking for these opportunities, but it's not his day. I know he plays better than this, but he's not showing it right now, and it's 100 Thieves who are reaping the rewards. That is 3-4-0 coming through because Immortals just going over the wall. They have the trigger pull necessary, but it is 100 Thieves who are punishing every single time Immortals is overextending.
Yeah, 100 Thieves. They are reaping the benefits of having calmed down in between games 1 and 2. And I think the momentum is on their side. And the pressure starting to get to Immortals.
There's nobody there. Right, Chad's on the far side of the wall. Concept's still walking up. Wild Turtle can't hit. I'm gonna call that what it is. That was bad. And it's going to be a perfect position for 100 Thieves to station themselves for the rest of this game. They are the scaling team. They're up in the mid game. We're past the 50-minute mark at this point, but you know that 100 Thieves are continuing to build up an even better early game positioning. And as they are up 5,000 gold as we crest the 20-minute mark, Immortals are gonna have to be more and more desperate for the rest of the game.
Welcome to the LCS stage. This is where things are getting a little bit more real now for these players, and maybe the desperation is starting to click into them. But you have to remember that this is a time where you can slow down the game. You can slow things in the series, but Jimmy has to be careful. But nice Everfrost forcing Pretty. Oh my god, this is a lot of damage out. Perfect execution. I mean, doesn't even have enough burst to cut through Jimmy, and he still has enough mana. Perfect execution. He is waiting as long as he can, but he has to escape. And Busio popping the Shirelli is looking for the movement speed, getting the flash out of Pretty, lands the quickness into the grand entrance, picks him back up, battle dancing his way back to Jimmy. And Chad trying to clean it up. Jimmy can't be knocked down. Concept teleporting it just to die. 100 Thieves are the one that are pushing ahead.
Oh my god, 100 Thieves collapse, and now they're in a perfect spot, but yet again, it was Jimmy's LeBlanc last game that got them to the 50-minute mark. This time, it is Jimmy staying alive once again, outplaying the rest of the members. 100 Thieves are now the ones who are on top of this barrier. It takes them a long time.
And Jimmy, despite being down 50% HP, is still trying to threaten Wild Turtle over the line. But Wild Turtle is being undeterred at the moment as well. He wants to carry Immortals Academy through the finish line. He wants to get them as far as possible in the lower bracket. And even though it's not game-changing at this point, it does stop the Baron for now at 21 minutes.
Dragon spawns as well, so 100 Thieves need to keep a couple of members on. Gamsu's going to heal the full HP. He builds items, he's okay. But we are going to be seeing 100 Thieves come out of that play with tempo because it wasn't overextension. But here, I want to watch how Jimmy, he actually moves right on back in. He sees a shuriken flip on the wrong target. He's like, I'm fine. There is 0% chance that Akali ever kills me here, so I'm going to walk up. I'm going to put Pretty in a spot where he has to make a play, try and go for the outplay, and Jimmy's like, I'm just gonna push my buttons in the right order. I don't have to do anything fancy. I just know when you can and cannot kill me, and there is no way Pretty ever gets that.
Just the rest of the reinforcements collapsing on from 100 Thieves as well. Now Busio playing that beautifully and making sure that he could keep Jimmy protected as long as he needed to before going in to secure the kill onto Pretty and then thwarting off the rest of the threats from Immortals. Now we're at a spot, Josh, where even though Soul Point isn't near for any or either team, it's still a 5,000 gold. Look at the individual gold leads right now across the board.
2K for Jimmy and 1.5 coming out for Gamsu. Those are the big ones, right? And those are the solo lanes, and they were not very strong during the regular season. We were consistently looking at Kenvi, like trying to solo carry a lot of games. Wixie and Busio were holding up their end of the bargain, but this time it is Jimmy and just kind of putting Pretty in the dirt ever since game 1. He's turned things around. He got outplayed on the LeBlanc, but when he came back with the LeBlanc again, he found the angles. Now he's playing the Victor, and I feel like a lot of players look at how Jimmy were playing and said, oh, he's okay. I can outplay him. And then they try.
Yeah.
And then they try to outplay him. They're like, how do I kill this guy?
Yeah, Jimmy if anything that we praise him consistently that he did throughout the split is being such a solid rock, a foundation that you can build a team upon. But the fact that Jimmy is also finding ways to be a game changer as well is helping 100 Thieves being pushed across the finish line.
He's forcing errors out of IMT by moving around correctly. He's got the Zhonya's Hourglass at this point as they are hitting this top lane turret. It's on Joey to go for these engages, but I don't even think they're strong enough. How do Pretty and Chad get through the gravity field? How they get on top of Xayah now that the Ornn items are starting to come through? The Everfrost has been upgraded. The Eclipse has been upgraded. I know the name of that one. It's Syzygy, and I only know that because it's a really cool word with a lot of Z's. And Y's.
Yeah. Immortals Academy, now you can see that they're past the point where they know that they had the window to try and get that snowball rolling. They're down 6,000 gold. Pretty is relegated to the side lane to try and expedite the amount of farm because he is behind the curve at the moment. He is barely. I don't know if he has enough gold to finish the second item, but you look at Jimin, man's on 3.
Man's on 3. So let's talk about Immortals real quick. We were talking a lot about, oh, he's fine, I think.
He has to wait out the fear beyond death. Joey is also coming in, but a teleport from Gamsu will force the rest of Immortals to back off.
Yeah. Jimmy's fine, right? You try and outplay him, you can't. But I want to go back to Immortals, right? Because they are the team that are trying to turn things around. They were the team that was predicted to be the underdog in this series, and so far, it has been Wild Turtle, a player that we have not talked about as much because he's coming down from LCS, looking for his way to get back in. And he looked so strong on the Zarya in game 1, constantly finding the right angles, going for the good targets, standing in strong spots, and the Aphelios as well in game 2. So many kills, 12, 5, and 13, 25 kill participation. He's 1, 2, and 1. He doesn't have the gold to carry right now.
How does he turn it around, right? And Immortals Academy, this is a composition that is super flexible around Zarya, but in terms of frontline, it's really just Concept and Joey. You have 2 divers that are supposed to threaten the backline, but we've gotten to the point of the game where Victor and Xayah, they're going to be just fine. They should be able to handle the dive attempts.
Yeah. Oh, Concept going the wrong direction.
Okay, well, Kenvi gets locked up, but Gonsu has the call of the Force God over, and you just have the Chaos Storm and the Feathers ready to follow up on the counter engage. 100 Thieves Academy just wipe out the front line. I don't know how much they're going to be able to defend.
And what did we say? You bring Gamsu to the fight. It's not fair. You bring Gamsu, your opponents have a knife, and you just shoot them in the face. Call the Forge God, wipes them off the map. Immortals are slow to it, and 100 Thieves with the decisiveness pick up 2 turrets in the ball lane. They can back out now. And again, they don't need to take risks. They don't need to go too far forward to try and take this extra inhibitor. They scale better.
And 100 Thieves Academy were looking pretty shaky in game 1, but now this is the way that we have seen them make their glow up throughout Proving Grounds. This is the return to form that we were expecting to see at the beginning of the series.
So Immortals now, 30 seconds before the Dragon, they gotta try and find some pick. They're looking for Kenvi, but he has his flash if he needs to. Yeah, gonna be just fine. Chad slams the ground in frustration, but Kenvi is still alive, has the ultimate. As we take a look at this once again, it's just Jimmy playing so far forward, but hiding behind the minions, there's no way he goes down, and as soon as Concept uses E the wrong way, there is no way for Concept to get back in. You can't ever find Jimmy, and there's no damage to come through.
Yeah, there's just trying to find the flank on this. You know, Wild Turtle or Chad and Pretty have to come around from the left side, but you can't when the way that 100 Thieves set up that fight, they were already marking the
entrance. They're so scattered.
Oh, God.
Well, Immortals they cannot take this fight. There's no way to get in. Maybe Pretty does something crazy.
I mean, the fact that Immortals feel themselves pressed about this shows how desperate they are, but look at this! Bucio has already laid the groundwork to rout off Immortals 1 by 1, while Turtle trying to do everything that he can, and Pretty has found Jimmy, but can you clean up the rest? You still gotta deal with the 4 members of 100 Thieves that are still alive, and it's an ace for them!
And they're gonna get both objectives. They're gonna get the Ocean Dragon, they're gonna get the Baron. They find 5 kills for 1, and Jimmy, they finally take him down, but it took everything Immortals had. It took everything they had to get a single kill, and 100 Thieves are in a dominant position. I said the geography was terrible. Immortals were all over the place. Like, yes, you need to find your flandangles in order to get in, but it doesn't matter if you can't actually go on. It was 100 Thieves who recognized defeat in detail. There's one person here. Joey can't move to the rest of the team. Chad and Turtle can't join them. Let's go pick off the one person, and then we can shift because the enemy team team is still split.
How are you supposed to deal with that as Immortals Academy? You can see that the coordination that we were praising them for in Game 1, the one that upset 100 Thieves and took everyone by surprise and was still pushing them forward in Game 2. But I have to go back and question, Josh, what happened? What happened in the comms? What happened in the momentum for Immortals Academy? Because 100 Thieves Academy, they've definitely returned to form, but it doesn't seem like Immortals are matching up to it anymore.
No, it feels like, once again, we talked about the junglers at the beginning of the day. Chad and Kenvi were the players that we were highlighting as these very aggressive players that were looking to be the impact. And so far, outside of the steal that Chad had up against Kenvi when he took away the blue buff at level 1, it feels like it's been Kenvi finding the better of it almost every single time. He's been out-farming his opponent. He's been out-ganking his opponent. He's more calculated. He has more experience.
And look at this, 100 Thieves, back on their form, back on their terms to decide the fights. They get to just waltz right in, throw out the engage tools, and take kills one by one. You get to let Kenvi get these resets almost for free, but the rest of Immortals Academy doing everything they can. But look at the damage from Wixie off the back end, while Turtle was doing everything that he could to push through forward. But the feathers will always get you on the back end. Pretty still has assassination potentials, looking for perfect execution, shuriken backflip, but it's not enough damage on Debussio. He is forced back just by the Baron minions. 100 Thieves Academy in Game 3 will now push themselves to match point.
It feels like a return to normalcy, Rafa. We are at a spot where 100 Thieves 2-1 up in the series. We saw Pretty die to frickin' minions there at the very end. He was not able to play. Jimmy shut him down. There was nothing that anybody could do to get on top of this victor. They had to take these crazy fights all over. And for a player that we have not spent a whole lot of time talking about during the regular season, during Proving Grounds, Jimmy so far is looking like the MVP of this series.
Yeah, even in Game 1 where 100 Thieves Academy had the weird collapse after the third dragon fight, Jimmy was still pushing through thick and thin, trying to keep 100 Thieves on top of things with the LeBlanc. And I think you have to give him so much credit and respect for really giving the momentum boost that 100 Thieves Academy needed, especially in Game 2 when they were two attacks away from being against an Immortals Academy who would have match point. This time, it is now 100 Thieves Academy after Game 3 that bring us to Game 4.
Yeah, so remember, Jamian saved the game up against Wild Turtle. He prevented Pretty from actually finding the back door towards the end of that game. This time, he put so many forced errors out of Pretty and out of Concept.
Yeah.
He's outplaying not just his lane opponent, but he's outplaying other people's lane opponents too. This guy is suddenly looking like the complete package, and we are right on back to what we were expecting. 100 Thieves looking super strong and super coordinated.
Yeah, it is such a huge glow up and a huge progression for Jimmy, and all the way from the beginning of the split where all we thought we could talk about was, okay, guy, I mean, he doesn't let anything happen. He's super defensive, but other than that, Jimmy is now really turning out to be a huge superstar for 100 Thieves Academy when they really need it. But before we return to Genghis on the desk, we have some words from Immortals Academy's jungler, Chad.
I kind of like get in sync with Turtle a lot. Obviously in Turtle's earlier career, there's lots of like memes of, oh, he plays really aggressive and he plays to always go in and stuff. And I think I'm entering that point of my career, so it's really refreshing to. We might be playing the macro correctly, or we might be like Joey or Pretty might be saying what we should do in the map. And I know if there's a scenario where we're just gonna fight and we're just gonna go in, Turtle's my guy to do it. And I think since then we've definitely built our synergy, and we're just definitely fight hungry, and we will win the jungle AD carry skirmishes if that ever comes to it.
Well, here we are after game number 3 is wrapped, and 100 Thieves Academy are bouncing back in this series. What a turn of events after that last game. Immortals, like they were saying, 2 autos away from being 2-0 in the series on match point, but now it's 100 Thieves Academy that are on match point. Cubby, I'm going to give it to you first. Very different look from the Thieves coming into this one.
I mean, something that we've been talking about a lot, like with all the drafts, is it really feels like Immortals with the Ahri. It's a champ that Pretty's so successful at. It's one that, he is able to get first move, get the resets, and really also, try and save some of the plays like IMT go for that might be overreaches and sides. Ahri can get there. I think that taking that pick away, changing up that mid lane matchup, and then 100 Thieves going to a comp, I mean, all the champs they have in their pockets, it feels like has been real comfort for them in Proving Grounds. You take that scaling comp, you get the early game that Immortals threw at them. It was an easy game for 100 Thieves, and all of a sudden, I mean, what a change of pace, a change of events we've had in this series.
Exactly. It's going back to that team fighting.
Yeah, I mean,
Dokla.
this is the type of combat expected from 100 Thieves to start the series.
Yeah, they're all
off.
smiles.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'm glad they made the adaptations mid-series to take away the Ahri, because I feel like that is Immortals definitely like best champ to catalyst for their like early game and mid game snowball.
Yeah.
So definitely like the adaptation there. And I mean, they're just up 2-1 now.
I think once Immortal showed that they're willing to blue one the Ahri, that's what I was like, all right, let's just take that away. You know, no more Ahri picks here for the side of Immortals. And that, of course, brings us into what happened throughout that game, because outside of just the draft, there was also a lot of decision-making from the side of Immortals that we wanted to highlight, and I believe the two of you wanted to hop up there.
Yeah.
Specifically the early game, there was a really exciting play to kick this one off.
I mean, we've got our #1 champs Q player here. We can't not do a Telestrator.
Exactly. We got to hear his thoughts.
So anyway, we're going to kick this off right off the bat. So this is the invade that Immortals attempted on the Kenvi. And we're going to see, I mean, when you look at the minimap here, Dokla, this seems like a favorable position.
Yeah, I mean, balling has prowess, so they're definitely communicating that, yeah, we can go for enemy red here. We'll be first to collapse. So then, I mean, Chad's definitely looking for the early game plays. And what seems like a good play ends up just turning bad.
So one of the big things here, of course, early skirmish, mechanics, really important. That was a big moment. I think two things happened. First off, you wanted to point this out, Dokla.
Yeah, I mean, the flash is just, we're just reaching here. I feel like he lost red, playing a bit emotional. Looks to flash in, doesn't, I mean, there's no real follow-up here. The Nautilus is too far off the screen, and Kenvi just flashes away. It's going to live, and now Immortals are just stuck in a really bad spot, very deep in the jungle with 100 Thieves ready to collapse. And Busio just flashed up.
Yeah.
And it's just a kill on the no flash Lee Sin.
I really like the flash forward from Busio, just knowing that Lee doesn't have flash. Also the fact that he did it like right as Joey's going to enter the brush, so he gets to skip over that auto attack, and that's what helped get them out to a great start. And one of the other big parts about this one, Dokla, when you give Victor those early kills, you get that early E-evolve, Joshi mentioned on the broadcast, it's so tough to then find the windows again to actually attack him as that Akali duo.
Yeah, I mean, usually this mid lane matchup is like Akali 6, you can definitely look for an all-in angle, but if it's just not there because Victor's just shoving the wave every single time, then the matchup definitely gets hard and you get set back behind.
All right, top lane specialist here, Doko. This is all you.
We got to talk about it. I mean, this one's crazy.
Got a solo bowl here. Ornn, Urgot, two champions that, you know, you're not a huge fan of, but we're going to make you talk about them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think Concept's definitely just reaching here, trying to poke under the tower pretty aggressively. I mean, Ornn right now has a completed frozen art compared to Urgot's like no completed full item, and
yeah,
Ornn is also on the ignite here, so definitely really pushing his limits. Gonna get hit by both brittle stacks, and Gamsu flashes in and just finishes an easy kill. So I mean, well played to Gamsu, but also Concept was looking a bit desperate there, trying to get a lead.
Yeah, you could see the Frozen Heart mark over Concept. I know we couldn't see Concept's item. It was a Tiamat and a Giant Spell plus a Cole. So that is a moment where, you know, item advantage, on over to Gamsu. Ignite too. Summoner Spellbook Ornn, always have to be careful of that level 6, right?
Yeah.
All right, up next, mid skirmish. So this is a point of the game, Dokla, where like when you are the team that is behind, you do have to try and make plays. But this is one where we felt like Immortals was overreaching.
Yeah, I feel like it should be communicated through the top lane that Ornn technically has first move. Obviously, they don't know where he could be, but like reaching for this play mid here, where the Urgot's not connected at all, it could be potentially a 4v3, and they're looking to opt into a 4v3 scenario where they are behind, and like Joey's definitely looking for a play here. He's gonna flash a wall in a moment, and Wixie responds to it really, really well. Instant ult, won't get caught out by the CC chain, and I mean, 100 Thieves just punished really well.
Really, there isn't much to be said from there, but I know one thing that we really talk about, you know, do you have move, do you not have move? Going for a play on the enemy side of the map when you do not have move. That's something like, you know, afterwards, if you do that in Scrim, Dokla, what happens with, how's that conversation
I mean,
go?
that's just a lack of communication, plus like, they're just, I feel a bit desperate of trying to get their way back into the game, but that is just not the window of how to get back into the game. There's gonna be different opportunities down the line, but forcing right there with no clear advantage is just not it.
Another
it's
point.
the same thing here.
Yeah, another point. Again, I mean, we do have to give Immortals some props. They know that they have to make plays to get back in this game at this point. You have to take risks, but this is one where I know one thing we really want to the credit, of course, Jimmian had a massive game, but also Busio. Watching him as a support continue to find more moments where he's in the right spot at the right time. Look at how he responds on the minimap. Once Pretty goes aggressive, He instantly sprints up here, able to have this back, and not only did this lead to 1 kill, led to more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Immortals going to collapse on this, trying to save their Akali here, and I mean, they just have first move off 100 Thieves side, so it's a hard play to really save here for 100 Thieves, and they do, I mean, for Immortals, and they do commit, and they do just lose more.
Also, that E back with a quickness actually stopped the combo from Chad.
Yeah.
That was really nasty from Busio as well, who, of course, Jimmy pumping out all the damage, but got to recognize the rookie support having a big game as well.
Yeah, I mean, well played to him being in the right place at the right time.
I was freaking out about the mechanics of that, and then Dokla's like, not too bad, not too hard to pull off. And I was just like, come on, give him credit. Support can't do that much, right? Or rather, they don't get that many opportunities to shine. But of course, that play, to me, also highlights what we were talking about. Pretty not on the Ahri pick, on the Akali instead, trying to still go for plays like that. But they didn't have a lead from earlier on in the game. A lot of that because of that level 3 we saw, but also just the fact that when Pretty doesn't have the Ahri, the team plays different. They look completely different.
Yeah, it's like Ahri enables like mid-push like pretty easily, and then I mean, this game, they just have to play silent here, and they don't really have mid-push, so he has to look for these crazy 1v1 outplays where he could get collapsed on first, but it's the risk you still have to take when you're playing Akali into like a control mage.
And it really changes up. I mean, you have been highlighting like how important team fighting is at this level, and like what happens when you do have team fighting comps. I think you called out, like Akali, you want to skirmish. And when Victor gets that early E-evolve, you cannot skirmish with a Victor because you're always under your own turret. And then, you know, when you have the Ahri, you get the Everfrost. You just, it's like, find the enemy team, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to ult, I'm going to Everfrost, I'm going to Charm. We can make plays off that. We
easy
can
follow.
resets off that. It's really simple. Pretty someone that, you know, does have more games under his belt than some of the other teammates he has. Of course, rookie top side, hyping up the rookie bot side, 100 Thieves. Got to recognize that rookie top side for Immortals as well. And I think that, you know, once they got behind, they didn't have any way to get back in.
Yeah. And sometimes the way Immortals Academy play is they'll go for these risky Hail Marys, like Joey flashing over that wall. Wixie had the quick timing, but imagine he doesn't. Imagine they blow up Wixie right there. Like, that's how Immortals oftentimes play and find ways to get back into games when they are behind. It feels like that's their style. That's the Immortals Academy that we can expect, is just a lot of aggression, a lot of crazy plays like that. But as of right now, it's 100 Thieves Academy with this more slow scaling style that's winning, and Kenvi getting the better of Chad. I mean, we talked about that matchup at the top of the day. That was the big story, is Chad replaced Kenvi going into last year's Summer Proving Grounds, wins the whole thing. Now Kenvi's like, thanks for keeping my seat warm, kid. But this is how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just playing well, playing with his team well, and I feel like 100 Thieves are definitely figured out throughout the series of how they want to play, and they just look really comfortable now.
Yeah, I mean, also, I mean, one of the big things when we talked about the first game on Blue, it was 100 Thieves. They started with a Lee Sin, and then they went Xayah LeBlanc. Now taking that Viego, recognizing how powerful that is with Immortals, and then taking the Xayah Rakan. I think it was actually a big sign of an adaptation from them. And Busio's Rakan, he's 6-1 now in this tournament. He has been huge on this Rakan. So I really want to see what Immortals going to do backs up against the wall. It's a position they've been in before, going up against FlyQuest. They were down 2-1 going into that game 4. And what did Chad request? He wanted carries. Now, he's had carries this series, but I'm really interested. Do we see a Graves? Do we see a Diana from Chad? That's what he reached down to when he was backs up against the wall in the last series. Curious what he reaches for here.
It's crazy how many Graves have been banned as well throughout this series, because I don't think that others want to see Chad on that pick. But Immortals have chosen blue side. We do have confirmation on that. So that means that they're not opting for the counter pick, which I think kind of makes sense given what's been going on.
Yeah.
They want the Viego.
Viego Ahri, you got to believe.
I feel like Ahri won't make it through, but Viego is definitely
it.
an option for them. There's no real like high prio outside of those two for Immortals side, so obviously they definitely need to switch something up going into their potential elimination game here.
But now the question is, what's 100 Thieves Academy going to do? With red side, they get the counter pick. Do they give that to Jimmy, or do they try and give that to Gamsu? Because if they're comfortable with Gamsu just blind picking the Ornn, going for the tank, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I feel
Why
like
not?
Yeah, I mean,
it's working.
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely blind the Ornn if you're able to get it. Maybe take out the Mundo, because I feel like tank versus tank, Mundo has a slight edge in terms of like 1v1. But outside of that, maybe Singe is a threat. In the back of their minds, they might think about that because it is his pocket pick, I guess. So, but I feel like the Ornn is working out. It's definitely good for them. Obviously, he's able to find a solo kill here. I don't think that'll happen, but
True.
I mean,
Urgot
it
did
just gives
take
them
one
good
turret
team play.
shot, so it wasn't a true 1v1, right? I
Oh,
mean,
come
if the
on.
turret-
We're going to counter for Gamsu, man. He's a big game player. He's stepping up.
Yeah.
Well, whatever 100 Thieves Academy decide to do, they are up 2-1 in this series. The defending Proving Ground champions are going to continue their lower bracket run and hope to make it a 3-1 here. But Chad hoping to defend his own title. We're going to be back for Game 4 after this.